right.
You can start any time, Prabhu.
Yes. Can you hear my mridanga?
Very
Perfect.
well.
Thank you very much. You're most kind. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Puri Rajakacharya Ashtotara Sata Shri Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyamakund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mayi Ki Jai. Jamuna Mayi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, and welcome everyone for Sri Caitanya Caritamrta reading with His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami and friends. Maharaj hasn't shown up yet, but I haven't received word from him, so I expect him to show up. Hopefully he will. It is Thursday, September 19th, 2024 in New York, and we are reading tonight from the Sri Caitanya Caritamrta, Adi-lila, chapter 10, tonight starting with text number 14. And again, thank you everyone for being here. Looking forward to hearing from all of you. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading about the various branches of the Caitanya tree in this chapter. Well, previously we had read about Acharya Ratna, Chandrasekhar Acharya. These are all big branches of the Caitanya tree. And then before that, the brothers of Srivas Pandit, who all were considered to be one big branch. Yes. And so now we're hearing about Pundarik Vidyanidhi, the third big branch. Hare Krishna. Pundarika Vidyanidhi Bada Shakha Jani Yanra Namalanya Prabhu Kandila Apani. Pundarik Vidyanidhi, the third big branch, was so dear to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that in his absence, Lord Chaitanya himself would sometimes cry. Report in the Gaura Ganadesh Deepika 54. Srila Pundarik Vidyanidhi is described as the father of Srimati Radharani in Krishna-lila. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore treated him as his father. Pundarik Vidyanidhi's father was known as Baneshvar, or, according to another opinion, Shuklambara Brahmachari, and his mother's name was Gangadevi. According to one opinion, Baneshvar was a descendant of Sri Shivaram Gangopadhyaya. The original home of Pundarik Vidyanidhi was in East Bengal, now Bangladesh, in a village near Dhaka named Baghia, which belonged to the Varendra group of Brahmana families. Sometimes these Varendra Brahmanas were at odds with another group known as Radhiya Brahmanas, and therefore Pundarik Vidyanidhi's family was ostracized and at that time was not living as a respectable family. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes in his Anubhashya, one of the members of this family is living in Vrindavan and is named Sarojananda Goswami. One special characteristic of this family is that each of its members had only one son or no son at all, and therefore the family was not very expansive. There is a place in the district of Chattagram in East Bengal that is known as Hatahajari, and a short distance from this place is a village known as Mekhala Gram, in which Pundarik Vidyanidhi's forefathers lived. One can approach Mekhala Gram from Chattagram either on horseback, by bullock cart, or by steamer. The steamer station is known as Annapurnara Gata. The birthplace of Pundarik Vidyanidhi is about 2 miles southwest of Annapurnara Gata. The temple constructed there by Pundarik Vidyanidhi is now very old and much in need of repair. Without repair, the temple may soon crumble. There are 2 inscriptions on the bricks of that temple, but they are so old that one cannot read them. There is another temple, however, about 200 yards south of this one, and some people say that this is the old temple constructed by Pundarik Vidyanidhi. So that is from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu called Pundarik Vidyanidhi father, and he gave him the title Premanidhi. Pundarik Vidyanidhi later became the spiritual master of Gadadhar Pandit and an intimate friend of Svarup Damodar's. Gadadhar Pandit at first misunderstood Pundarik Vidyanidhi to be an ordinary pounds and shillings man, but later, upon being corrected by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he became his disciple. Another incident in the life of Pundarik Vidyanidhi involves his criticizing the priest of the Jagannath temple, for which Jagannath Prabhu chastised him personally by slapping his cheeks. Jagannath Prabhu here refers to Lord Jagannath. This is described in Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat Antyakhanda, chapter 10. Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur informs us that during his time there were still 2 living descendants of the family of Pundarik Vidyanidhi, who were named Sri Harakumar Smriti Tirtha and Sri Krishna Kinkara Vidyalankara. For further information, one should refer to the dictionary known as Vaishnava Manjusha. Hare Krishna. Lots of history here. Om Jnanatimirantasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I don't have much to say, certainly in elaboration of this, although these incidents that are described of the life of Pundarik Vidyanidhi are described elsewhere. Prabhupada mentions one in the Caitanya Bhagavat, and others are described later in Caitanya Caritamrta. Very, very colorful and interesting character, Pundarik Vidyanidhi. And so interesting that he's described as the father of Srimati Radharani and Krishna-lila. Also found it interesting here that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, in his Anubhashya commentary on the Caitanya Caritamrta, would occasionally, as noted here, give up to date, at least up to date at the time of his writing, information on the state of these historic places where these people lived or temples that they constructed based on the distance from certain railway stations, or here, the distance from the steamer station. And it would be certainly a great bit of a great project for someone to bring all these historical facts and figures up to date, because who knows if these things are still existing. If they were about to crumble during Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's time, either they've already crumbled, or perhaps the Bhaktivedanta Swami Charity Trust and the devotees who are administering that trust have done something about the crumbling state of some of these important historic shrines. Praveen Krishna Prabhu says, the birthplace is under the auspices of ISKCON now. Jai. Of course, there is some tension in the country now. Hare Krishna. Thank you for that, Praveen Krishna Prabhu. Vijay Krishna Prabhu says, as far as I know, Lord Chaitanya is God himself, and God is famous for being self-sufficient. My question is, how do you explain that in the absence of Pundarik, Lord Chaitanya would sometimes cry? In other words, what kind of crying is this? The Lord is never alone, certainly. He derives pleasure, anandamaya bhyasat, in the company of his devotees, which are many and ever expanding and ever increasing in number, because the Lord is ever increasingly social. Pictures of the Lord in which he's depicted as being alone were not approved of by Prabhupada, because the Lord is always in the company of his devotees. In fact, it's described that he's more attractive in the company of his devotees than alone. So the idea that he is self-sufficient is something that's actually put forward by other persons, not Gaudiya Vaishnavas, as the what's the word? The definitive quality of the Lord because he's always in the company of devotees, always wanting to be in the company of the devotees. And as I was reading, there was an article that I can't post a link for because it's not online. It was an article by Ravindra Swarup Prabhu in which he was describing the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as being one of seeking further association for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is unlimitedly social. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself is Krishna, acting in the mentality, the mood of a devotee. And he specifically comes to this part of creation in order to increase the number of Krishna's devotees with whom Krishna can have relationships and actively engage in pastimes. Of course, the souls in this world are in a state of viparya smriti, thinking themselves separate from the Lord, and therefore inaccessible in one sense to the Lord himself. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, not only is he Krishna himself acting as a devotee, but his whole active principle was to increase the number of Krishna's intimate devotees from the ranks of us here in the material world. So I hope that's all right. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would cry because I've also heard it said that the religion of Krishna is worship of his devotees. So Krishna is never alone, never wants to be alone. Therefore, crying. Saraswati Ma says, Pranams to all Vaishnavas. Lord Chaitanya is in the mood of Radharani. So as Pundarik is Vrishabhanu and Krishna Lila, it's natural that there will be the same bhava here too. Yes, thank you for that. Certainly makes sense. Hare Krishna. So looking forward here to text number 15. Yes, text number 15 also has a purport. Bijay Krishna Prabhu, would you like to read our text number 15? That would keep things rolling here.
Yes, I would like to read it. May I?
Please do.
Thank you very much. You're most kind. Text 15. Vada Shaka Gadadara Pandita Goshani Tengo Lakshmi Rupa Tanra Sama Kehanai. Translation. Gadadhar Pandit, the fourth branch, is described as an incarnation of the pleasure potency of Sri Krishna. No one, therefore, can equal him. Purport. In the Gora Ganodesh Dipika 147 through 53, it is stated, quote, the pleasure potency of Sri Krishna, formerly known as Vrindavaneshwari, is now personified in the form of Sri Gadadhar Pandit in the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Close quote. Sri Svarupa Damodar Goswami has pointed out that in the shape of Lakshmi, the pleasure potency of Krishna, she was formerly very dear to the Lord as Shyamasundar Vallabha. The same Shyamasundar Vallabha was present in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes as Gadadhar Pandit. Formerly as Lalita Saki, she was always devoted to Srimati Radharani. Thus, Gadadhar Pandit is simultaneously an incarnation of Srimati Radharani and Lalita Shaki. In the 12th chapter of this part of the Caitanya Caritamrta, there is a description of the descendants or disciplic succession of Gadadhar Pandit.
Thank you, Prabhu. Any thoughts to share on this?
Well, I liked it when in the purport Srila Prabhupada mentioned that um, the double function of Gadadhar Pandit. He said, Srila Prabhupada says that Gadadhar Pandit is simultaneously an incarnation of Srimati Radharani and Lalita Saki. And my comment is that is a very brief comment. This quote from Srila Prabhupada is the same as to say that Gadadhar Pandit is not an ordinary personality. I think we owe him lots of respect, admiration, and spiritual love. Not only in theory, but in practice. And in practice by trying to become the best devotees possible for us. And in other words, take inspiration from what is to be learned from the pastimes, where we find Gadadhar Pandit exhibiting his behavior as a close and intimate associate of Lord Chaitanya, because he belongs, he's one of the tattvas of the Pancha Tattvas, so no ordinary personality, and lots to be learned from his behavior as an intimate associate of Lord Chaitanya. That is my comment.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
And that, if I may say, that forces us to read the Caitanya Caritamrta with preferably with total concentration.
Yes.
That is my comment. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Murari Gupta Prabhu says, Hare Krishna. Do you have any insights into how this phenomenon of combined personalities works and why it happens? I'd like to save that question to bring up with Maharaj, because I don't. I just don't. Saraswati Mata says, I find it interesting how two individuals like Radharani and Lalita can both merge to become Gadadhar Pandit. Not sure if this means it's a plenary portion of them. Hare Krishna. Well, Lakshmi Rupa, incarnation of the pleasure potency of Lord Krishna. The word plenary is not used, but plenary simply means full power. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is there, his pleasure potency, the Krishna's pleasure potency is there. So you can understand it to be plenary in that sense, although it's not specifically stated. Sama kena nai. There is none equal. There is not anyone equal. Keha, anyone. There's no one equal. It made me think how Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, is a very elderly man when he began writing Caitanya Caritamrta. And he was writing on the order of the senior Vaishnavas of that time. And when he says something like this, Tanra sama kehanai, that there's no one therefore can equal him. This is a person in the most mature stage of spiritual realization. And he's not going to mince words. He's not going to exaggerate. He's going to relate the facts as they are revealed to him by the Lord in his heart. So just as Vijay Krishna Prabhu so eloquently said, we're not dealing with an ordinary personality. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita, Gadadhar, Srivasadi, Gaura Bhaktavrinda. I can't say more certainly about how two individuals can be combined in a single person. But why not? Nothing is impossible for Krishna. If there's some flavor of the relationship that can be achieved by combining two personalities, he can do it. Hare Krishna. Let's see. I was going to see if Ras Prabhu is able to read maybe the next couple verses. Praveen Krishna Prabhu says, Lord Chaitanya is also combined, but he is considered God, not Shakti. Yes, he's Vishnu Tattva. He's Avatari. Radha Krishna Nahi Anya. So, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahi Anya. No, none other than Radha and Krishna. How to understand these things? It's not very easy. You can understand by the grace of Krishna, not otherwise. But yes, thank you, Praveen Krishna Prabhu. Yes, considered God, not Shakti. Yes. So the next two verses, one has no purport, one has some purport. So if you're able to read Ras Prabhu, it'd be great.
Yeah. Tanra Shishya Upasishya Tanra Upasaka Emata Saba Saka Upasakara Laka. Translation. His disciples and grand-disciples are his sub-branches. To describe them all would be difficult. Shall I go on?
Yes, please do the next one.
Rakrishvara Pandita Prabhubara Pada Priya Prita Ekabhavik Abhisa Pahara Ganar Nitya. Translation. Rakrishvara Pandit, the fifth branch of the tree, was a very dear servant of Lord Chaitanya's. He could dance with constant ecstasy for 72 hours. Purport. In the Gora Ganodesha Deepika 71, it is stated that Rakrishvara Pandit was an incarnation of Aniruddha, one of the quadruple expansions of Vishnu, Vasudeva, Shankarshan, Aniruddha, and Pradyumna. He could dance wonderfully for 72 continuous hours. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu played in dramatic performances in the house of Srivas Pandit, Rakrishvara Pandit was one of the chief dancers, and he danced continuously for that length of time. Sri Govinda Das, an Oriya devotee of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, has described the life of Rakrishvara Pandit in his book Gora Krishnodaya. There are many disciples of Rakrishvara Pandit in Orissa, and they are known as Gaudiya Vaishnavas, although they are Auriyas. Among these disciples are Sri Gopala Guru and his disciple Sri Dhyana Chandra Goswami.
All right, Krishna, thank you. Any thoughts on this you'd like to share, Prabhu?
But also not an ordinary person as well here.
Yeah.
I think described as an incarnation of Aniruddha, one of the quadruple expansions of Vishnu. That's all.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't know anyone who can dance wonderfully for 72 continuous hours. I'd have trouble dancing for, 10 continuous minutes. This is certainly an empowered person. I found it interesting in the first verse that you read that it's continuing to describe the branch of Gadadhar Pandit. It's a Tanra Shishya Upashishya. It's his disciples, and Upashishya is translated here as grand disciples and admirers. So these are all considered parts of the tree, whether you're a disciple or just an admirer. You're part of the Chaitanya tree. Initiated, not initiated. If you're simply an admirer, upa means close to or almost a disciple. Even if you're almost a disciple, you are part of this wonderful tree. Thank you for reading. Oh, Saraswati Mata, please go ahead.
Oh, yes. I just wanted to share something that I had read a while ago. I just want to put it out there. I have zero vision in one eye and very limited in the other eye since my eyes got operated on. But let me just see if I can even make out a little bit of the notes I made. We were talking about this whole thing about expansions. And I'd made a note here about how we know that Krishna has unlimited expansions, and we know that yogis that have attained perfection can achieve so many X forms. I've got here 7 forms. I don't know if that's, I believe it's 7 forms, but there was a note that said those yogis who achieve perfection and can expand into 7 forms, one of the things is that whatever the original form is doing, that's what the other forms are doing. So unlike Krishna, his forms are all unique. They can all be doing different things. But I've got a note here from the Goloka chart that said one unique feature of devotees of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, is that they can actually expand into 2 forms, so that in one form that they are serving Krishna in the Krishna-lila, and at the same time they've also got a form in which they can serve Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and relish the rasa there too. So this is only unique to followers of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. No other sampradaya can offer that, which I thought that just blew my mind, actually, to be honest. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Where is that from?
So I got that from the Goloka chart. It's 13 classes on YouTube. Sorry, I can't even read the name here of the person the devotee rather. There was a very senior devotee. He talked about the Goloka chart and what that all means in Goloka. They had the beautiful lotus, and they were talking about how Krishna and Radha are in one half of that, in the center of that lotus, and on the other one was Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then each petal represented the Astasakis, the 8 principal friends of Radha Rani, and then behind them they had all the manjaris, and they also had the petal where Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati in his original Swarupa, see if I can read it, he's Kamala Manjari, Bhakti Vinod Thakur is Kamal Manjari, Bhakti Siddhanta is Naina Manjari. And then they were saying how Srila Prabhupada, who never discussed this, but they were saying he's right behind that. So all these different petals represent these very intimate associates of Lord Krishna and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is where they talked about how Gaudiya Vaishnavas have this very unique position, as I say, where they can expand into 2 forms. One is always serving Krishna, and one is always serving Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu simultaneously, apparently. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I must say, that sounds like fun. And these things are not unheard of. Like, for example, you mentioned the example of yogic siddhi of expansion, and that is a material thing. Obviously, it's part of the side effects of yogic practice. But even in Krishna's pastimes, where he visited the home of Bahulashva, who's a king, and Shrutadeva, a brahmana, simultaneously, he was traveling at that time with all these great sages, and all the great sages went to both houses simultaneously. And in those forms, they were having unique pastimes. They weren't limited by the yogic siddhi shaktis. They were doing unique things in both places. And so that's a special feature of Krishna and his devotees. So that notion of being able to serve Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu simultaneously is something I've also often wondered about, because we see that pictured right on the cover of our Srimad-Bhagavatam, where Goloka Vrindavan is shown as the largest planet, the gigantic lotus, and then you see in miniature pastimes of Krishna depicted there. And then alongside it, you see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his pastimes depicted in the same place. So I had often wondered on that point, but why not? Why not? We hear that when Krishna's devotees come here for the purpose of expanding and assisting Krishna in his pastimes, they not only come here, but they have their original existence in Goloka Vrindavan, and they may also have some other existence on some higher planet. I'd have to find specific instances for that, but I've certainly heard that. And Murai Gupta Prabhu says, there's a tirtha in Bengal where Vakreshwar's ankle bell fell after flying off when he was dancing. It's several miles away from where he was dancing. Yes, Hare Krishna. Yes, certainly if someone has the Shakti to dance wonderfully for 72 hours, not like these people that you see at dance marathons that are just drooping and dying after a certain amount of time. Vikreshwar Pandit, if he had that amount of stamina, then you could certainly imagine that he's got a certain amount of force and torque to his movements that could cause an ankle bell to fly for several miles. Why not? Hare Krishna. Prabhin Krishna Prabhu says, the Siddhasvarup Pranali by the Babajis, they attribute it to teachings of Gopal Guru. They quote a text supposed to be written by Gopal Guru, but the text has no evidence anywhere in the Goswami literatures. Okay, Hare Krishna. Oh, Panchatattva Prabhu is here. Jai. Would you like to read our next verses? We're now at text number 18, and there are several verses that we'd love to hear you read. Some of them have tiny purports, some have none, but we'd love to hear you read in any case.
I've come late to the party. I don't know why you're letting me read. Chapter 10, text 18.
Yes, sir.
Apane Mahaprabhu gaye, yar nritya kale, Prabhura charana dhare, Vakreshvara bale. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally sang while Vakreshvara Pandit danced, and thus Vakreshvara Pandit fell at the lotus feet of the Lord and spoke as follows. Dasa sahasra gandharva more deha chandramukha, Taragai mui nacho, tabe mara sukha. O Chandramukha, please give me 10,000 Gandharvas. Let them sing as I dance, and then I will be greatly happy. Purport. The Gandharvas, who are residents of Gandharvaloka, are celebrated as celestial singers. Whenever singing is needed in the celestial planets, the Gandharvas are invited to sing. The Gandharvas can sing continuously for days, and therefore, Vakreshvara Pandit wanted to dance as they sang. Om Jnana Timaranda Shekinanjana Sanakaya Chakshumanitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So the person that immediately comes to mind among Srila Prabhupada's associates is Vishnu Swami, who was well known, along with many devotees that were his associates, to go out for hours upon hours upon hours upon hours every day, 8, 9, 10 hours a day, chanting on the streets, and then get up and do it again the next day. So this is an extraordinary empowerment, actually. I can safely say from my minuscule position that chanting even for several hours a day is quite a challenge. What to speak of the very next day doing the same. But here we see that Vakreshvara Pandit was asking that he have this cohort of Gandharvas so that he could continuously dance. If he had someone continuously singing, he would continuously dance to the tune of the holy names. Hare Krishna.
Please continue reading if you please.
Prabhu bale tumi mor paksha eka shakha akashe uditam yadipan arapakha. Lord Chaitanya replied, I have only one wing like you, but if I had another, certainly I would fly in the sky. Pandita Jagadananda Prabhu Pranarupa Loke Khyata Yeho Sabjapamara Swarupa. Pandita Jagadananda, the sixth branch of the Chaitanya tree, was celebrated as the life and soul of the Lord. He is known to have been an incarnation of Satyabhama, one of the chief queens of Lord Krishna. Purport: there are many dealings of Jagadananda Pandit with Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Most importantly, he was the Lord's constant companion and especially took part in all the pastimes of the Lord in the houses of Srivas Pandit and Chandrasekhar Acharya. I'm not up so much on these pastimes. I'm sure someone who has a familiarity with them could go on for quite some time about, but certainly Satyabhama was one of the principal queens in Krishna's pastimes, and she had a certain argumentative and lovingly demanding personality or character. And she figures prominently in many of Krishna's pastimes. I think she was the queen who wanted the celestial flowers from Indra's realm and caused a stir when Krishna brought them to earth, and Indra became disturbed. And there's lots of pastimes with Satyabhama. One of the wonderful aspects, at least from my limited vision, of Krishna's pastimes is he has, there's so much of this display of individual personality. It's not that everybody is very supplicant and, mild and, obsequious and, just kind of, there's all this extraordinary display of affection in different moods, which is described in great detail in the Nectar of Devotion. So you can read about these things there. Satyabhama was one such extraordinary personality in Krishna's pastimes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Yes, we hear from later on in our Caitanya Caritamrta how Jagadananda Panda dealt with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's
In a similar way.
Yes.
A Parijata flower, Satyabhama wanted, that's right. It was
Yep.
the whole tree, actually.
Yeah.
Wasn't satisfied with the flower, she wanted the whole tree.
Saraswati Ma comments, Satyabhama was a warrior and proficient, but in many weapons. She killed Narakasura. All right. And just in reference to your remark about being so-called late, Tulsi Priya says, Panchatattva Prabhu is always present in this Sangha. It's just that sometimes his physical presence is manifest, and sometimes it's just by our remembrance of him in his bhava expansion. So there's no question of him being late.
That's really hilarious.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, that's really funny.
Yeah. Right. I like very much this statement of Lord Chaitanya. I have only one wing like you, but if I had another, certainly I would fly in the sky.
Yeah.
Just the sweetness of the dealings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and these associates is.
Yeah, can only imagine. Hare Krishna.
And Prabhin Krishna Prabhu offers that Sri Rukmini has got a flower by Krishna. This was not tolerable to Satyabhama, who was not pacified with Krishna.
That's right. That's
Krishna
right.
promised the whole tree to pacify.
That's right.
And then there was trouble.
Thank you, Praveen. That's right. That's what it was. Little transcendental competition.
Yes. Venkatesh Prabhu, are you now available to read? We're now at text number 22.
Yes. Priti ye karite chahe prabhura lalana balana vairagya loka bhaya prabhu namane kahana. Jagannananda Pandit, as an incarnation of Satyabhama, was always wanted to see the comfort of Lord Chaitanya, but since the Lord was a sannyasi, he did not accept the luxuries that Jagannananda Pandit offered. Dui jane khatmati lagaya kundala Tandra priti yera khata agi kahiba sakala. They sometimes appeared to fight over trifles, but these quarrels were based on their affection, of which I shall speak later. Raghava Pandita Prabhura Adya Anuchara Chandra Eka Saka Mukhya Makara Dwaja Kara. Raghava Pandit, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's original follower, is understood to have been the seventh branch. From him proceed another sub-branch headed by Makarat Dwajakara. Kara was the surname of Makarat Dwaja. At present, this surname is generally found in the Kayastha community. The Gauraganandesha Deepika 166 states that Dhanishta Bhaksha Samagrim Krishna Yadad Vraje Mitam Saiva Samprati Gauranga Priyo Raghava Pandita. Raghava Pandit was formerly a confidential gopi in Vraja during the time of Lord Krishna's pastimes, and his former name was Dhanishta. This gopi Dhanishta was always engaged in preparing foods for Krishna. So, on way to Kolkata, from Mayapur to Kolkata, there is that village, Panihati, and it's still there. So, that banyan tree is still there where Mahaprabhu sat, not Mahaprabhu, actually Nityanand Prabhu sat with his associates, and then Raghunath Das Goswami had come to see him, and then he was punished in a special way by giving him the punishment of feeding thousands of devotees with chipped rice, two varieties of chipped rice. One prepared with yogurt, fruits like that. Another one with condensed milk. So that Paniyati festivals happen there every year. All the villagers come together and they have a very nice festival that day. So near that banyan tree is actually the house of Raghav Pandit, and it is still preserved nicely. And Raghav Pandit's sister was Damayanti. So both of them were very good cooks. And there is still a tree where actually it's there's a painting also. Yeah. So in that painting we can see that Mahaprabhu is sitting under some trees. Actually it's a grove. And that grove is still there. There are many plants, and then that's where Mahaprabhu sat and with his devotees for prasadam at Raghav Pandit's home. And Raghav Pandit's sister was known to cook also very nicely for Mahaprabhu, and she would send it every year through the devotees who were coming from Bengal to Orissa to Jagannath Puri to see Mahaprabhu. So she would actually prepare lots of dry prasadam, which would stay for several months, and then Mahaprabhu was served that in parts for the whole year. So, as we have been given that name, kitchen religion, I think we have that in our parampara from the very beginning. That Mahaprabhu had associates who were like expert cooks, and the names are here in this verse. Raghav Pandit, he is one of the leading cooks, and also his sister was the main. And other devotees can maybe add more points. Even I like cooking actually. I started cooking when I was 10 years old, and I am very much fond of cooking. And I think many of you are actually like that. So cooking is one way by which we can engage our hands, and then yes, actually everything, hands, head, and heart. So so it is also one scientific fact is that I heard that it is not what we eat that is actually affecting us. Actually, in a spiritual sense, actually, it is the consciousness of the person who is cooking that is what is affecting us. So, in spiritual life, so who is cooking what we are honoring, it's very much important. And even if it is like you can say prasadam, which is offered, but then if the person who is cooking has a very, we can say, a questionable character, then we may have to think twice before like going further with that. So that is one thing I've heard and experienced, very much a fact. And on the positive side, I've also experienced that there's one Prabhupada disciple, his name was Haripatru, he was in Udupi, and his wife is Falini Mataji. So for the first time when I went to his home, he fed me khichdi. So that khichdi was out of the world. It's like there's nothing in that. Basically, it's just a simple khichdi, but the taste was like I cannot forget that. So so then similarly, I've read that in Servant of the Servant also that Tamal Maharaj writes that for the first time they were in San Francisco, they had acquired the church, and it was Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's appearance day, maybe, or disappearance day, one of these days. And then the devotees somehow they didn't consult Prabhupada and they arranged the evening program. But then Prabhupada came to know, and so then he said that, okay, now I will cook everything. So then he went to the kitchen and alone cooked a 12-course feast for 60 people in 1 hour. And then Samakrishna Maharaj and all the devotees, they were stunned by the taste, like it was completely out of the world. And they could realize that, yes, this is something extraordinary. And I have also heard, or rather read in the book of Gaur Govind Maharaj, When Good Fortune Arises, that when Gaur Govind Maharaj came for the first time in Vrindavan, in Krishna Balram Mandir, he was just dressed in saffron. Actually, he was looking for a guru. His age was already over 50. And then Prabhupada asked him, like the very first question in their first meeting, what Prabhupada asked was, have you taken sannyas? Not that, okay, where are you from? What is your name? And what are you doing? Do you know Krishna? No, they didn't ask that question. Actually, he was asked, have you taken sannyas? So no. So then I will give you sannyas. Prabhupada said that. And then later he was, all the devotees, they were confused about him. And they thought he is a Mayavad sannyasi. But then when he cooked some prasadam, the devotees were mesmerized that what is the taste, and everybody would ask who cooked it. So then it is Gaur Govind Maharaj. So this is a very consistent scientific fact we can see about cooking. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. The next verse is, as a matter of fact, text number 25. Hopefully you'll be present in the Sangha when that comes up, is specifically about Damayanti Mataji.
Oh, I didn't see that. Okay.
But we'll hope to hear from you again next week on that. We have some comments in the text right now, actually quite a few of them. Going back to the discussion of Satyabhama, Saraswati Mata says, I recall reading how Satyabhama had a very difficult time accepting Krishna's absolute love for Radharani and the gopis. It speaks of just how competitive she was. Hare Krishna. And Panchatattva Prabhu says, Raghava Pandit came with bags full of food prepared very nicely by his sister Damayanti. Damayanti made varieties of unparalleled food, just suitable for Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to eat. The Lord ate it continually for 1 year.
Must have been especially wonderful since it gets multiple mentions in the Caitanya Caritamrta.
Yes. Yes. And Tulsi Priya comments, I think this has to do with Venkatesh Prabhu, that someone is a prasadam bhakta. And that's certainly a fact. Saraswati Mata says, thank you for speaking of my Guru Maharaj, Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj. He told my mother that she made the best khichdi, and my mother had tears in her eyes. Yes. Prabhin Krishna Prabhu has provided a long section here. Panchatattva Prabhu, would you like to read this long comment from Prabhin Krishna Prabhu?
Sure, sure, I would love to, but even better would be hearing it from Praveen Krishna Prabhu, but he's always kind of reluctant to speak in these things since he's usually in some temple at the very moment.
Yeah.
Wants to read, he can, otherwise I'll be happy to read it since he makes the most wonderful contributions. Govinda therefore told Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Jagadananda Pandit has brought some scented sandalwood oil. It is his desire that your lordship apply a little of this oil on your head so that blood pressure, due to bile and air, will be considerably diminished. He prepared a large jug of it in Bengal, and with great care he's brought it here. The Lord replied, a sannyasi has no use for oil.
Oh, Panchatattva Prabhu, your screen has frozen and your audio has paused. So I'll continue until you come back. The Lord replied, a sannyasi has no use for oil, especially perfumed oil such as this. Take it out immediately. Deliver this oil to the temple of Jagannath, where it may be burned in the lamps. In this way, Jagadananda's labor in manufacturing the oil will be perfectly successful. When Govinda informed Jagadananda Pandit of this message, Jagadananda remained silent, not saying even a word. When 10 days had passed, Govinda again told Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it is the desire of Jagadananda Pandit that your lordship accept the oil. When the Lord heard this, he angrily said, why not keep a masseur to massage me? Have I taken sannyas for such happiness? Accepting this oil would bring my ruination, and all of you would laugh. If someone passing on the road smelled this oil on my head, he would think me a Dari sannyasi, a tantric sannyasi who keeps women. Hearing these words of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Govinda remained silent. The next morning, Jagadananda went to see the Lord. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said to Jagadananda Pandit, my dear Pandit, you have brought me some oil from Bengal, but since I'm in the renounced order, I cannot accept it. Deliver the oil to the temple of Jagannath so that it may be burned in the lamps. Thus your labor in preparing the oil will be fruitful. Jagadananda Pandit replied, who tells you all these false stories? I never brought any oil from Bengal. After saying this, Jagadananda Pandit took the jug of oil from the room and threw it down before Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the courtyard and broke it. Hare Krishna.
I'm sorry, somehow they got knocked right off of Zoom, but anyway.
Now that you're knocked back on, we'd love to hear a kirtan if you don't mind.
It might happen again though.
We're willing to take that risk.
Oh, Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Privrajacharya Astotra Sata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Privrajacharya Astotra Sata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Brindi Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Brindi Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakund Radhakund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Yamuna Mai Ki Jai. Tulasi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhakta Brindi Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gora Premanande. Haribol.
Hari Hari Bol. Thank you so much, Panchatattva Prabhu. And thank you to everyone for all your reading and commenting and just being here. Sri Caitanya Caritamrta Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami Maharaj and friends Ki Jai.
Samaveta Bhakta Brindi Ki Jai.
Jai. Wait, 2 thumbs up, you get fireworks.
Is that right?
Used to, anyway. Probably expired. Anyway, thank you so much. And hopefully we'll see everyone tomorrow, if not sooner. Hare Krishna. Hopefully Maharaj.
And fireworks because of my birthday.
Ooh,
Hey, happy birthday. Hari
Jai.
Thank you very much, Panchatattva Prabhu. 63.
Hey.
I hope to spend the next year in your most beautiful association. Thank you very much. You're most kind.
Such a
Hare
wonderful
Krishna.
day. Vijay
Hare-
Krishna Prabhu's birthday.
Happy
Jai.
birthday. Do the thumbs up, my husband.
I did it once before.
Oh, you did? I missed it. Sorry.
It's not working.
Ah. Anyways, happy birthday.
Yes,
Thank you,
Jai.
Mother Tulasi. Thank you very much. You are most kind.
Okay.
Actually, I'm having a wonderful birthday because it's my birthday is the beginning of my birthday is with you in your association. So thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
We're glad you're here. Stick around.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hari Hari.
Haribo!